Here we are. I'm hugging on the microphone if somebody heard that. We're back here at the Lakeside Studio here in beautiful Smith Lake, Coleman, Alabama.
Another week. Boy, has the temperatures changed or what?
Oh, feels good outside.
20-mile-an-hour winds that do that.
Well, yeah, 20-mile-an-hour wind, and had a little frost this morning when I went out.
Had a good frost.
So the wind laid down a little more last night, and they said, because it was in them wide open cow pasture going past Whitlock's out there.
Yeah, a buddy of mine hunted yesterday, and he said right at dark, like 10 minutes to dark, it dropped.
Well, I got out and shot my old man's rifle for him just to make sure he hadn't. He says he never touches it, but he's in that safe all the time rambling around, so I always like to shoot it at least
Make
once.
sure he hadn't knocked it over or something.
You don't know how many gut shot deer I've tried to.
Well,
I've hunted for him.
Well, I'm glad he's got him a target buck.
He's got him. I listen.
You probably shouldn't
My
even tell him
brother
it's
done
there.
told him no does, no spikes. He said I can do half of that. He said he's 82. He said I might not be here to see him being at 8 point. I'm just gonna take him now. So anyway, it is nice and cool. I don't know what temperature is out there right now, but it's
Don't
nice.
get to 35 tonight though. I do know that.
You know, all that sweating we did in here now, we got heat running.
Yeah.
But yeah, tonight we got who we got over there?
Got Haynes Riddle, the one and only.
Any sidekick, but he ain't gonna talk.
I guess not. He's going.
Whenever he gets ready to, we'll turn his mic on.
Yeah. Haynes, who you got with you?
This is Briar Rabbit, my boy.
Rabbit.
He's 11 years old. He's a killer. Briar Riddle.
I see his pictures. He's definitely trying to follow in the outdoor life footsteps there.
Yep.
Well, I know you know Anthony from us meeting a few times and him coming down to the hunting club, and of course we've known each other a long time, and we're glad y'all are here.
I'm glad to be here.
Can't wait to hear and get some information and maybe learn a little something. We always do, or try.
Maybe get a pin drop to us. I don't care about the
We
deer.
might
Just drop me
do
where you
that.
hear the turkeys gobbling. That's all I care about.
Yeah.
He would.
I'm afraid where he hears them though, the pin he would drop, we'd never get in there.
I did that. Somebody said, drop me a pin down there where your property is in Dallas County, where I can go down there and hunt it. And it was somewhere, I dropped a pin, but it was somewhere between Selma and Mobile. He said, I said, you know how when you get it, you know. And I guess he didn't look at it right then. They say, I know. Well, I started in Mobile. I said, you didn't think I was going to give you my address down here, did you? Even though I ain't never killed a turkey on it. Only my brother.
Soon.
It's coming.
Yep.
It's coming.
They're
They're there. Listen, I don't know how they know it. I got a flock of hens that from the time I planted October 5th, I think it was the 5th, whatever that first Saturday was in October, there was 15 to 20 hens on them green fields every day. Every day. It was scratched up. You couldn't put a pencil down without touching turkey tracks. And I just knew it's, destroyed because it just rained. It was 40-something days without no rain. So I go down Saturday, and I'm just going to check and put up a ladder stand, do that kind of stuff. I carried the stuff in case I wanted to hunt, but I knew I wouldn't. And field was coming up. I was shocked how much was still coming up that they missed. But I went ahead and put another 50 pounds out on that one field. I hadn't seen them in 2 weeks. All over it today. Yesterday. But it's rained on it, so hopefully that stuff's germinating coming on up.
I'll tell you, I'll tell you a story. You talk about dropping pins, talking about turkey. I'll tell you a turkey hunting story real quick.
We love those.
I know we hear it's deer season and everything, but
it's turkey season for me year round.
Yeah, well, I'm the same way. So, about 8 years ago, something like that, I started running some cameras for deer in the wilderness area over there, and just nearly right in the middle of it, and put them out at kind of toward the end of the season and stuff. Thought, the only time I'm going to be back here is to walk this far. It's probably going to be turkey season. I kind of made a plan. So turkey season come around, take off walking that morning, nearly an hour and a half walk, just to get in there way before daylight. Of course, I get in there and sit down, just listen. About that time, I hear a turkey. There's one that's further away from the truck, and about that time, I hear one gobble kind of back toward the truck. About that time, one gobbles off his point out here. I said, oh, yeah, that's one I'm going to go after. You know, I got that darn 10 gauge that I hunt with. I got it on my back like a dummy, you know, over there toting a cannon that far back in there. Get out there on that point, get pretty close to him, and he's kind of down the holler there, and you know, I hear him fly down and stuff, and I hit him with a call, and he answers, and I was like, yeah, he's coming. He'll be up here for too long. And you know how it is over there. It's just there has nothing been done to it forever, just wide open timber. But there's a big old oak tree, you know, 4 foot in diameter that fell down a big old root ball right next to it. So I slip around there and get tucked in right there next to it. You know what I'm saying? Pointing on it. He's no doubt this turkey's gobbling right there. He's hit, and he's going to come right here. There's no reason for him not to, right? Well, I'm sitting there, and I hit him. You know, we got my little mouth call, and I hit a little call. He gobbles again. I just shut up. Don't say nothing. A little bit later, I hear him gobble, and he's kind of more right here to my right. And I'm like, okay, move. He's going to come up right here. I don't hear nothing. He just goes silent. About 15 minutes later, I hear that joker, boys. I'm going to tell you what, if I would have stood up, I feel like I could have touched him on the other side of that log. He come up around to my right over here where I couldn't see him, and that root ball was in, you know, he located me just them 2 calls. And if that log would have been, if I would have been 10 yards back, I would have killed that turkey. He come right there, and inexperienced, you know, too, and being young and dumb. I sat there, and and I could just hear him, and he was just right behind me. And I sat there, and I was just shaking, you know, just, oh my God. I thought, well, all right, I'm gonna let him get out there just a little bit further away from this, and I'm gonna whirl around on this thing and turn around on this log, and I'm gonna kill him, you know. So just like I was going, you know, like I was hunting somebody, you know, so I flip around, and I'm going to kill this darn turkey. And by the time I seen him, he had already seen me probably 3 or 4 seconds before that, and he was right over top of the hill. Never seen him again, you know. So I got skunked that day. But there is turkeys over there. I'll drop that pin for you. If you want to go back in there and kill him for me, I owe him one. But he's probably long gone by now. He's probably died of old age. But, you know, there is some turkeys to be killed over there.
You know what they say about gift turkeys. You don't want one. You don't want nobody to give you a turkey.
Yeah, there's a reason why.
There's a reason why. Mm-hmm. Although, old cuz give me one. He'd been on. I had a turkey hunting partner for 20-something years. He died on me a couple years ago. And, but he had hunted one like that, I mean, hard, 2 or 3 weeks. Well, we go down there and weekend hunt. That's all we could do. He said, I'm done with him. You can have him. And I guess it wasn't no talent, because I ain't talented enough. I mean, I can kill turkeys, but I ain't no Eddie Salter or, you know, one of them big turkey hunters. But I guess I set up in a different place. See what happens when you hit that. Set up in a different place, and it sounded a little bit different. I had that turkey killed in 30 minutes. And you talk about one mad little man, because he was a little old bitty guy, about that tall, didn't weigh 140 pounds, soaking wet. Whoo, he was hot. I said, it's just skill, brother. It's just skill.
I mean, you know, that little bit of different sound.
That's what I'm saying. I didn't go sit where he set up, because he had his few spots. I mean, well, he'd been over there so much, you could tell every tree had set on, you know, or whatever. And I just come in different, and, you know, I don't know if he was using a box or a mouth call or whatever. I was generally always on a mouth call. I've got to use these pot calls a little bit more, especially them. It's hard to get away from them red beard calls. But, so, yeah, there's always one like that.
I'm excited to kill one with my Duke's man.
I just hope you kill one and not a tree.
I'm gonna kill a tree this year. I always kill 2 or 3 trees.
He killed trees all across the United States.
Well, Haynes was down there when I killed this last tree.
That's part of it. You're going to have that.
Well, we sat in the camp house all day because it flooded all day, and then we were watching that radar, and Anthony's texting me going, y'all should be able to get out in a minute. I'm looking at the radar, and we were sitting there ready to go as soon as it broke. We hunted the same place that evening, and we both seen turkeys. I missed one, but we heard a few birds, and you got close that evening. I know. Thought you was gonna get that bird next morning. Yep. Doggone birds, man!
Oh no,
I hate them.
Oh, I do too. I hate every one of them.
I do too. I hate them nearly as much as I like to eat them.
Oh man.
I got a whole one down there. I got to get out of the freezer. He'll go in the pot.
Because
I plucked one this year.
You'll be out of the family if you don't cook a wild turkey.
Well, I always fry. This is the way I do it. I always fry a butterball. She goes and buys one, and then if I kill enough, I'll pluck one. And I killed enough over there, Bremen. I had that extra one that morning. I come in here and I just plucked it. And actually, I plucked better lay it on my tailgate than I used to hang them up and pluck them, but I plucked that thing. Plucked a whole lot better because I try to keep the skin on them if you're gonna fry them.
Well, you've got experience because we've done it in hotel rooms and
yeah,
we've caped several birds out in hotel rooms.
We caped that one out down there in Florida, didn't we? Yeah, that was our Florida birds. Yeah, it looked like a murder scene in that motel room.
They was feathers,
blood all in the bathtub, on the sink, stuck to the mirrors.
Yeah,
I had to go down and break in a room. Luckily, the old gal that was at the counter, she was back there doing something, and I went back into where the kitchen, where they serve breakfast and stuff, went in there and rambled through and found big old garbage bags and a broom and a dustpan. I don't know what they thought when they opened that dumpster up next day.
You know his new skinning knives where you change the blades out instead of sharpening them? Okay. I had one of them. Me and Anthony, we had cuts from trying to cape them turkeys out. That thing was so sharp. He'd come through and you'd be, oh, man, it was like getting paper cuts. I had bloody nose. We'd never caped any out. No. That was our first birds to ever cape out.
I watched Hayden cape. You know, he caped mine out.
I ain't never caped one.
Did he cape yours? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
I've still got my North Dakota or South Dakota bird down in the freezer, rolled up. I ain't never even.
I done mine.
I mean, I didn't have room this year.
You ever cape one, Haynes?
No.
It ain't hard.
I ain't never.
It ain't hard.
The guy that done ours in South Dakota, we kind of learned a little more from him. They turned out a lot more uniform. Is that how you'd say that, I guess, than what
it's really easy when you look at them because their feathers almost make a line down their back.
Yeah.
And all I got here, the only thing I'm going to do different, and I'll do that down there when I do this, and I'm going to trim that neck up a little bit because it always looks bad right there where it gets up close to the skin. Mm-hmm. And I think most people just trim it off, right? I didn't trim it off. Every feather I wanted.
Yeah, I hadn't ever even attempted that. I'd never mounted a turkey that I had killed, and then I wished I'd have mounted that one. You know the one I'm talking about, that real big turkey I killed, and I kind of wished. I said if I ever kill a turkey that big again, I'll mount it.
That's the one.
And then Briar killed that. Briar killed his first turkey, which was a stud, and then within 2 weeks, I killed one, and it was big. It was nearly as big as that one. And I'd already told Briar, if you want us to mount this turkey, we'll get it mounted. So, of course, we just, put the head folded under the wing and wrap it up, and then I killed that one. So we got 2 turkeys. They're on the wall in my shop right now. Yeah,
I got one down there. I killed. Well, it's been probably 2012 or 2013, one of them years. He's 24 and a half pounds, big old spurs, and biggest one I killed. I had him mounted. Now, she just blasphemed down there because what she does, that turkey ain't even funny. I'll tell you that when I finish the story. But that youngest boy of mine, I'll say he's probably still eat up with it, but now life's took over and he's a grown man and he's got 2 ex-wives and 2 kids. And he ain't got a whole lot of money or time. Anyway, we were looking at that turkey and I said, boy, look at that. I said, that's a once in a lifetime bird here in South Alabama. I said, you just don't see them that big. Next evening, he said, I'm going over yonder so-and-so field. I said, carry that little old pop-up blind of mine over there and put it in the bushes. It wasn't long. I was hunting over the ball field. I just went on back to the camp. It was an evening hunt. You know, it wasn't even morning. It was just evening. I was going to listen more than anything. He come rolling in with that. That dang bird was as big as mine. He said, look at that, Daddy. That's one of them once in a lifetime birds. I said, yeah, but yours ain't getting mounted. So I didn't know. I didn't even know you could cape them then. I'd have caped it out for him, but I did it up real nice. Did his fan real nice and made him a wing bone call out of one of the wings and did a little artwork on it. Like I asked him the other day, I said, you still got it? He said, it goes everywhere I go. So I said, well, when I'm dead, maybe you can look at that and say, Daddy did that. But
what?
I was just sitting there thinking, he ain't even told us nothing about him, just Haynes.
Well, he
went into a dang turkey hunting story. And when we get into these stories.
Well, to get into turkeys, we just go off script.
I don't think there's nothing better to talk about on opening the main opening weekend of firearm season in Alabama than turkey hunting. I mean, I just got down here. I rushed home. I had to go put a battery in one of my cameras up there behind the shop. I grabbed out my couple of hunting clothes, a lead sled, in case maybe I get time I can go shoot that gun. I hope a hog comes out and I can just practice on the hog, make sure the gun's still on. I don't want to shoot. I ain't gonna shoot no doe off down there where I hunt. It's too far to tote one of them out. And I don't tote the hogs out. I just let the coyotes have them. But then I come home, went to the gun safe, got my rifle. I brought that big, heavy-ass case I keep it in. Got my shells, got all packed. Everything's packed, so as soon as this is over and everybody's gone, I'm packing the truck up because I ain't coming home.
I hadn't even got any of my hunting stuff out yet.
Well, you just going up the road, though. I'm going 100-something miles south.
I'm going in the morning.
Going where in the morning?
Hunting. Jamie took off to Oklahoma on me.
Well, I mean,
so
you carrying your crossbow going hunting?
No.
Big good morning.
You going to the forest?
Deer's moving right now.
You going to the forest?
I'm going where big boy season's open in Winston County right now. Yeah. I don't know exactly where I'm going.
I know you ain't going far. You ain't going off them dang goat trail hills and hollers over there that
I've been down
take
a bunch.
Mountain goat. I have too.
I got after a bird over there one day. I thought I was going to call a helicopter.
I turkey hunted over there a few times. Then I got smart, went South Alabama.
That was back in my younger day, and I thought I was going to get a helicopter fly me out. I was over behind Pine Torch Church over in there.
Yeah.
I got in the bottom now.
Yeah. There ain't a lot of that place over there that I ain't seen. I mean, there's, of course, plenty of places I ain't seen.
I figure that
I've been up and down a lot of those hills and mountains, and it'll make or break you.
Would you agree that there's animals in that forest that's never seen a human?
100%.
I don't think people's been in there far enough to see
Where
him.
Sasquatch lives. He lives back in a hole back in there somewhere.
Good place to live.
100%. The only thing.
You ever seen bear sign up there?
I have had a bear encounter.
Yeah.
Over there.
Chance
in the forest.
You've heard about that?
Chance's feeder keeps getting
well,
knocked
I mean,
over
they got a picture of one up here. They got a picture of one over here at the Country Mall.
Yeah, this was about 2010 whenever this happened over there. But yeah, I won't even get into that story, but I had a bear encounter.
Well,
over
remember
there. Now I don't talk about that much.
What about mountain lion?
Nope. No, I hadn't.
I mean,
my grandpa lived over there.
I think my grandpa saw Black Panther, but
yeah, they're over there.
Well, Johnny Ayers, remember?
You're a believer.
Oh, I'm a believer. 100% mountain lions, they come, whether they live there or not, and for sure bear move through there.
I think there's bear in there. I think there's resident bears in there.
Yeah.
They're getting more and more.
Well, I know, they turned some of those hybrid coyotes and wolves loose in there at one time. Yeah, and Johnny Ayers actually, he's got some pictures on his trail camera right there off his pond dam at his house with him on there.
So I got a pretty cool story about wolves too. See, my folks, they're from Bankhead Winston County over there, Winston, Lawrence County, the Riddles over there, Moreland, all that, Grayson, all that area. I got a news article printed out, and it's the last known wolf that was killed in this area. Will Riddle was his name. He's my great-grandpa, and it lays out the whole story and everything. And a bunch of the farmers and stuff was having their livestock killed and everything. It tells it all in this article. And it snowed, and they went to tracking it. But him and a bunch of them, whatever. Anyways, he ended up finding the wolf, finding den, killing the wolf and all that. And that's the last known wolf that has got killed over there. And I don't know exactly what year that was, early 1900s. That was probably the last known wolf. I mean, it said in that article it was the last one. So
I don't doubt anything being over. I'm just being honest. I've heard some noises over there that I cannot explain. I don't know. Never heard.
I don't go up there enough. So. I have seen a big.
It's a different place. And y'all asked. I wasn't raised up over there. My first memories of the outdoors was being, 4 years old, and my daddy was hunting beagles and picking me up and took me through a briar thicket. That's some of my first memories. And then, of course, got old enough to go run dogs over there whenever they run dogs in Bankhead. And my grandpa and all them, they had dogs.
That's some good days right there.
Good times, man.
Oh, man. And I wish this one right here could experience that. He won't ever be able to, not right there, but, that was a lot of fun. Well,
even where they hunt them now, it's not the same.
Yeah, no. Well, because you don't know everybody. But I just remember going over there. I never killed a deer behind dogs, but I got, a lot of excitement and all that stuff.
One of my biggest bucks I ever
seen,
the dogs was running.
Yeah.
And like I told, I stayed on my stand, and that deer crossed twice. And there's supposed to have been a boy down there. And I said, I got to go see where he's at. And when I got to the tee of the road, that idiot was way up. He done walked off his stand. And the buck was coming back for the third time, reared up like a dang stallion. He had to be 200 yards from me, but I throwed buckshot at him anyway. Then we had to go hunt the dogs,
I'll say
he
something.
left town then.
I'll say something about dog hunting. It's probably pretty controversial for somebody that, I'm kind of consider myself more of a, got to that point where I want to try to target trophy deer and stuff in life and everything. I would give anything if they'd bring dog hunting back.
Me too. I'd sign,
I think that you would see a lot of big deer getting killed. You think about it. This is my thoughts on it. You take dogs, you turn them loose. All right? They go out there and they strike up. Well, a big old buck, most times he's smart enough to get out of that. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times dogs are going to take the does, the younger bucks and all that. A big old buck's going to be smart enough to circle back and get downwind all that. And a lot of times, if a big old buck back then got killed, the dogs was done gone. And somebody,
the drivers wouldn't killed him.
A guy was just kind of standing there and think, I've heard several stories was like, well, the dogs done went on. All of a sudden, here come this buck. Mm-hmm. And then they killed him. If you brought that back, man, I'm telling you, that would be the best thing because, I know it's pressure on the deer and everything and all that stuff, but we'd get out of some of this.
It ain't. It's more them goody two-shoes, don't want it, no dogs. And a few bad apples. There's a few bad apples out there. They get over here and turn them loose and knew they was running them across somebody. And
well, yeah, the way we always done is like their little group, we kind of knew where they were hunting in the forest. We're over here in our little spot. It was kind of a big family type deal. They'd catch our dogs, we'd catch their dogs, and we'd be on CB saying, hey, we got y'all's beagle down here. Well, hey, we got y'all's walker. And, we never had an argument with hunters, like you say, landowners
y'all was
sometimes.
On the forest, though,
Well, but there's a lot of private tied in over in there, too. And, especially over around Black Pond, I've had guns pulled on me trying to get my dogs and this and that. But, for the biggest part, as far as the dog hunters, everybody was a good sportsman. Like I was cutting across one time going to Black Pond, And I come up on a dog drive over there where me and you went squirrel hunting.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And the guy flags me down. Stop. And I said, yeah. He said, you got your gun with you? I said, yes, sir. He said, pull down that log road right there. He said, we running the big one right now. We ain't got no standards. Help us cut him off. I'm thinking, just hey, invite this guy you don't even know and tell him to go out this road, and I got a chance to kill a big deer. I took him up on it. I called them boys over at Black Pond. I said, I'll be a few minutes late. What are you doing? I said, I'm on a stand. We're doing a deer drive. But I miss it. I really hate it for the kids. Because sitting in a tree stand and stuff, we're all getting older, and we catch up and we get close to God and get our thoughts together in a tree stand. Kids are bored, you know.
Yep.
And
there's nothing more exciting to hear them dogs turn loose and strike.
Oh, yeah.
You don't know which way they're going.
Nope.
But if they start your way, they just got to start your way.
Old
and then
heart.
that old heart is just about to beat out of your chest. I don't know how many times. I mean, a squirrel will jump or make a sound or a rabbit pop out on you, and man, it's supposed to be the deer.
When you get that drive and start catching dogs and this and that, and the kids are playing with the dogs, and I mean they have a big time trying to get them up in the dog boxes. And I don't know. It definitely.
Did y'all do the same? We used to. Oh, damn! There, I did it again. Maybe if you killed a deer that day, that night, and we always had a big camp where we was at down in Tuscaloosa, where I was on. My majority of dog hunting was down there. And them old men to get out there and deep fry that tenderloin and French fries and maybe even a hush puppy or canned biscuits sometimes. But I swear, they couldn't been no seasoning in that food well, other than salt probably or pepper. That was some of the best deer meat you ever have on a cold night.
Well, Rooster Wilkins, he had that old cast iron skillet. I don't know where he got it from down there when we had that club in Camden. And he wouldn't allow you to come in there and eat while it was cooking. You just going to wait till it was done. But something about that old iron skillet, there is no deer tenderloin I've ever cooked or ate that tastes like it did coming out of the and when Dwayne cooked it, you know what I mean? But a lot of times we'd take a whole deer, and we had an old 55-gallon drum smoker, and we'd poke that thing full of carrots and taters and put the whole deer on the smoker if we could fit it on there. And just let it slow cook all day, and you coming out eating.
Killing one of them little ones again.
Hey, if it's brown, it's down back in. I mean, that's what our dads built that club for.
No, I mean, listen, down there where I'm hunting now, and I know I joined, but y'all won't see me down there deer hunting more than likely. We ain't down there to kill. It ain't a monster club. I want them kids. I mean, we do have our rules. 4 on one side. 14 inches, inside. That ain't no monster deer. But a 14-inch wide deer is a pretty good deer. But, a kid, of course, we don't care what a kid kills, if it's his first deer or whatever, and then kill all the does they want. I need somebody to come down there and take about 50 home with them.
Did you hear that, brother?
Mm-hmm. I can show you pictures right now of the 12 of them out there eating my grass up, what's a little bit sprouting.
Yeah.
But,
I've got 9 that's eating 1,000 pounds of sweet potatoes every 2 weeks.
You know what? You told me them sweet potatoes. I don't see where you're saving money.
The math still works out. I did the math. It still works out.
Yeah, but your back's going to hurt a lot more.
From dragging them out.
Well, I'm talking about them big-ass old boxes of taters moving around.
That skid steer don't even know they're there, man.
I don't own a skid steer.
Oh, you got a tractor.
It's up yonder in the shop.
But, and that's what me and a guy was talking about the other day. I said, man, them sweet potatoes now, they're a little work or whatever. It don't matter. It's worth it. I was talking to Chance. He's like, it's worth it.
Yeah.
But I'm here now. Man needs to put him some alfalfa pellets out.
You say it's worth it, but, man, them time feeders, they almost train.
I don't use them. I dump all my corn out.
Well, they just eat when they want to, 2 o'clock in the morning.
That's but during, usually I'll run a time feeder maybe till a week or 2 before the rut, and then I start dumping on the ground because I'm trying to pull all the does in I can that wants to eat.
That's all I got around these feeders.
That's all I've got.
Well, other than
I haven't had, believe us or not, down to our club Wilson Bend, I've had not one picture, nor Jamie, nor anybody that I'd be willing to send to you and be like, look, this right here. That ain't no joke this year.
Them two, look at what that one's doing. He's licking it out of there.
Yeah.
He's a little one. But I did get one. I was going to show you while y'all are yakking. I can back up into there.
Hey, I want when we talked about dogs, and I don't ever get to in hunting over there in Bankhead. I don't ever get to tell these kind of stories and stuff to ever be recorded. So I'm gonna say this. I can remember pulling up over there, and my grandpa, my daddy, boxcar. His daddy's name was Leo. Everybody called him Moon Eye. You know, he's one of them old timers. You know. Ran moonshine, him and his brothers over there. Some of them steels you can find over there. And you'd pull up at his house and he'd go to throwing the dogs in the back of the truck and everything. And this was you know, he was the toughest man that I feel like ever lived, you know. He'd come out and he didn't have any boots. He wore penny loafers. Penny loafers with no socks, and he was a big old man. He was about 6'6", and he'd wear a pair of like Dickie overalls, and they was about 6 inches too short. And his old legs down there, they would just nearly be blue. It'd be so cold, you know. And wherever he was the driver, you know. So, but he'd tell I got an older brother. His name's Gabe. Dusty knows him. And so I wasn't old enough to go and get in the good spots. But Gabe, he was young and full of piss and vinegar. And he, you know, Pawpaw knew where to send him. And so he'd send him to these spots. And there was one place over there, and I could get you pretty close. Gabe tell you exactly where down there on the creek crossing. Gabe killed, I think, 3 different bucks down there at the same place there within a year or two, you know, because, I mean, he knew where they was going to go. And, you know, the dog hunting and stuff, I know it ain't going to come back, but, man, I'd give anything if it come back to North Alabama. That'd be one of the best things, but we was talking about it earlier, you know, they're trying to sell license and all that stuff, and everybody thinks they got, you know, this is their property and this is their deer they're hunting and everything.
Man,
and everybody's got the wrong attitude about all of it now, I feel like. You know, I say, I don't care. If it makes you happy, kill it. I don't care if it's a doe. I don't care if it's a whatever. You do what makes you happy.
I was going to say if it's legal, but everything's legal now.
Spotted fawns are legal now, which I'm
not going to shoot one, but I mean, if I was hungry, I might, but.
Boy, they're good eating.
Oh, yeah, I ain't said, hey, they tender.
I'm not going to say that when I was Briar Rabbit's age that I didn't see one on this weekend that had spots, and in 2 weeks it was eating with its mama again, same green field, and it didn't have spots, and I may or may not have killed it now. I'm not going to say that. But like you say, it's fine eating.
Fine eating, it's tender. And it'll fit in a 48-quart cooler with.
Well,
in the hole.
I've seen them fit in them old Army field jackets and be toted out.
I've seen them put in toolboxes on trucks under the back seat.
Suitcases
a little bit bigger than a cane cutter rabbit.
Yep,
I've seen them put in suitcases.
Oh, I know.
Volkswagens, and you know how the trunk was on the front. I've seen deer be skinned in the bathtub in the hotel and iced down in the tub for the weekend till you get ready to leave, all kind of stuff.
Me and my brother, one of his buddies from a cousin of mine, not the one that died, another one, we went to Chocolaca one year. You know, and you younger than me, and you might think it's special hunting public, but that's all we had to hunt in. This public land, I don't know what the damn big deal is about this public land. Public land's always been there. I hunted it. That's all I ever hunted. But we was in Chocolaca, and, you know, you couldn't shoot does. You know, it was bucks only then. And we went in my daddy's old 68 Ford pickup truck. It didn't even have a camper on it. We all 4 slept in the bed of that pickup truck with a tarp pulled over us. And it was cold. I'm talking about cold. It was so cold when we got up. Now, we had a great time that night. That campground, it was a whole different time back then. They was playing guitars, and, you know, it was just magical. I don't know how to explain it, but we got up the next morning. It was so cold, our eggs was froze solid in the cooler.
Well, that was deer camp back then.
Them old men took care of us, though. And so, y'all ain't eating breakfast, boys? We said, our eggs froze. Oh, come on over here. We'll get you some eggs. And they have scrambled eggs and biscuits and bacon. But I had one doe walk up. I thought it was a pet. I'm not kidding you. That thing would come up, me to you, him, and I'm sitting there trying to shoo it off. Wanted to kill it so bad.
Well, if she'd have been in season, it'd been perfect.
Well, it wasn't back then, they didn't have but a week.
I'm saying if she'd have been in heat.
Oh, well, yeah. I still think a
decoy.
thing. I'm shocked it didn't have a bell around its neck. I stood up. They didn't care. I guess they knew you couldn't shoot it. But when we left there, this is what was funny. We had all of our old groceries and stuff, and everything was paper bags back then, wasn't this stupid plastic crap. And we made us a deer. We took our tarp. We rolled that baby up, made a body. Had old brown paper bag, stuffed it full, made a head, took 2 limbs. We had that baby laid out on the hood. As we left out of there, we went by the check-in station, and there's like four game wardens standing there. And one of them pointed. I thought they was going to fall out. And we drove that thing. It blew off on the interstate coming back. we drove it till it blew off the hood. We had it on the hood. That was the only thing we killed. But you know what? It didn't matter. I think if we killed deer, I wouldn't even remember that hunt.
Right.
It was just a hunt. And like I said, they out there man, I don't know how many people had guitars, and it was just a
man, yeah.
Like I say, that used to be deer camp though. My dad talked about those times going down to they loved to go to Okmulgee, and they'd go down there and had big times.
We used to go to Centerville. We'd load up and go to Centerville down there and hunt. And
that's Okmulgee, ain't it? Or did you hunt in the forest down there?
Forest.
We
hunted the forest whenever we'd go, but it was like some of the same, and it got so cold. I remember one time it got so cold, and it was wind blowing, it's howling. Somebody had a tarp. We had, I about froze to absolute death. I was about his age, I was about maybe 11, 12, something like that. We got down there, and it was so cold, like you said, I didn't know if I was going to live through the night. And we stretched a tarp up around, like, between 2 trees and tried to get behind the wind right there. But it was hitting in that. I had a little old blanket there. We didn't have any clothes worth.
No, that's the way it was with me.
I never changed. I stayed in my hunting clothes the whole time.
When I was his age, we didn't have no deer. There wasn't no deer. I grew up over toward Warrior.
Mm-hmm.
There wasn't no deer. My dad, he was a rabbit hunter. We squirrel hunted, rabbit hunted. He was a big pack of beagles. He was always broken until somebody had a $500 dog. And for some reason, he had $500 in his wallet.
Amazing.
But I quit hunting with him. I guess I was about 14. Because I was so cold one morning, he was running them dogs. And all we had was Kmart thermals, them old green lace-up rubber boots, non-insulated, and cotton gloves. And my hands was so froze, I couldn't get my pants unbuckled to pee. Peed all over myself. And I said, I ain't going back ever again. I said, if I can't afford good clothes, for some reason he had pocket warmers. I didn't. But anyway, from then on, I feel bad now because, like I said, he's 82. He can't hunt much no more. And he just, we built him that shooting house. And
you cold-natured?
Used to be. Ain't so much anymore.
I've always been.
But let me tell you, I spare no expense.
Yeah.
I don't care if it costs $1,000. If it keeps me warm, I'm going to spend it.
As long as you're
I ain't going to hunt. I just ain't going to do it.
You got to be comfortable to hunt. So, if you got...
But now, when back in the day, I didn't weigh but 100. Well, when I got married the first time, I weighed 130 pounds, I guess. So I was pretty skinny in bones. It didn't take much to get cold back then.
Well, my deal over there, like hunting in management area, Bankhead over there in Black Warrior, on these real cold mornings, I'd hunt with a summit climber over there with a rifle, just 9 times out of 10. I'd take off and I'd have some in my Under Armour, and I'd put on a pair of gym shorts just so I'd have something on. But that's what I'd walk in that in a T-shirt with that on my back and take off walking sometimes 3 o'clock in the morning and, walk till I got nearly a sweat, and then I'd stop, take a break. You kind of feel it on your back. Your back gets hot. When your back I figured out when my back starts getting hot, you need to stop because you start sweating. Because once you start sweating, you definitely going to freeze.
That's when you get cold.
And so That's why I'd start walking earlier and earlier because I'd walk and I'd stop and I'd take a break and I'd get, I'd always have a place where I knew where I felt like I was safe from where I was going to hunt, whether it was on a gap or right next to a bedding area or a thicket or, edge of a ridge line, whatever it was, creek crossing. I'd always have a place where I was like, this is where I'm going to get my clothes on. And I would put all my clothes, I'd bundle them up, and I'd have that. And my tree stand, boys, that thing weighs, 25 pounds anyways, and now I have another probably 25 pounds. And my feet always got cold. Best thing I found for that, I got some of them, it's called Arctic Shield. You can get them off Amazon, and they're just like little booty things that you can
put over your boots.
Slip over your boots. But I could take those and drop a hand warmer in there, and I'd have my stuff on, and I'd get a couple of hand warmers in there, and I'd sit. And when I say I could sit all day, I did sit all day from daylight till dark several times.
If I get cold, it's generally my feet, and I do the same thing. I'll put a hand warmer down in my boot, and I ain't. When you're back in there like you are, you're there. You're there. You ain't coming out.
No.
I'm out, 10:30, 11 o'clock. I'm headed back to the house, so I can suffer it out 3 or 4 hours.
Yep.
But like you are.
I purchased something new that I'm actually charging right now, but I bought one of those rechargeable hand warmers. Mm-hmm. I was in Walmart the other day, and they had them on. I
don't know how they work.
Well, I'll let you know, because they had them on the end cap, $9.97. I was like, they got 3 different settings on them, and I think on high, they're supposed to last 6 hours on high, and you just recharge them, the USB-C or whatever. And I
can't believe you didn't buy your buddy over here one.
I got Grace one, and she ain't never
Grace
gonna
don't
hunt.
even hunt.
That's what I'm saying.
I'll take Grace.
You may acquire hers. I'll let you know. I'm charging it right now for this weekend. Just gonna try it, and see maybe how long it really lasts. I don't know, but
it ain't gonna be that cold.
What about Haynes vest? Y'all got in on that?
I've seen them. I ain't bought one yet.
They're worth it. You better get. They ain't that expensive.
You buy that from Tidewee, or who's you buying?
No, it was off Amazon. It was cheap, and
that's why the Tidewee stuff is pretty cheap.
Well, I know
how long they last. They ain't got it. You can run it on low. I'm assuming.
Somebody told me about it. It wasn't even hunting, and I got mine last year and hunted in it, and I was like, heck yeah! I mean,
so you just got a vest and wear a jacket over it, or you got a jacket that's you can buy the whole thing's coats.
No, yeah, I just got a cheap vest, but I put it on under my. I got a Cabela suit that I hunt.
My stepdad, he always, when we hunted in Tennessee, he was still hunting in his stuff. Some of his stuff he had from the 80s and. Whatever, but he wore a big old
like my tools
goose down Browning vest that he had forever. And I mean, when it would be a seriously cold morning, he'd throw that thing on. He said, "Son, them kidneys stay warm. You'll stay warm." He said,
"They ain't nothing better. Wool and goose down." Yep. I'm gonna tell you, I had a wool outfit, even wet. You stayed warm.
Talk about You say kidneys, you take those that you put on your feet that's got the sticky part. You take 2 of them and you put them right back there. And then you put your coat on right there and you sit right there nearly all day.
What me and Mike used for that, when he owned the pawn shop, he had these elastic bands this guy was selling. You put a handgun and it had a big slot on each side for your handgun in case you was right or left-handed. And then it had some magazine little slips on there. And me and he would take regular hand warmers and tuck them in where the handgun's supposed to go, and that always worked really good.
We get cold weather, don't get me wrong. And I've hunted some cold days. Matter of fact, I don't have much luck on them super cold down into the low teens, 13, 14. But we was hunting Barber one year, and a club I used to be in as part of that management area now, so we had our place. We'd always go down there. They rut around 15th, 20th January. So me and my brothers and all, we'd go down there and get us a hotel room. And we was hunting that one day. It was, I think it was like 13 degrees for a low that morning, but it was going to break freezing. And I'm going to be honest, 2 days we didn't see a deer. It was a 4-day hunt. That third day, about 9:30, the frost started melting out of the trees. And the woods come to life. I've never seen more deer in one day down there. than back when them old boys used
They had all they could stand. They had
Yeah, I mean, when it broke above freezing, they were up and moving.
Mm-hmm.
They just laid in them old thick cutovers and briar patches.
I noticed that on them real super
I just don't think them deer care about. I mean, they can say they can get up and move, but it ain't like it's minus, 40 and they got to get up or freeze to death. I think they'll bed up.
Seems like on them real cold days,
Get on them warm.
You got to stay
hills.
till like 9, 10 o'clock before I actually ever start seeing deer move.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Well, like day.
They ain't gonna feed across no green patch.
Long.
They ain't gonna eat no frosted over grass. So I mean, unless you hunt in the woods, they might ramble around, but they ain't even gonna do that. The leaves are frosty.
Time to kill a deer should be in the morning. I guess the winds. I got to work tomorrow, so I don't even look. At the weather.
I think today was the last day of real hard wind.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to start laying down
tomorrow morning. Just going off of way I've always seen deer move. Tomorrow morning should be a good morning. And all day tomorrow they'll move.
You actually gonna get up and go? You told me this 3 or 4 times. You never.
I just set my alarm for 4:45.
Yeah, if I could go hunting tomorrow, I'd be in the woods.
I'm gonna go do the morning hunt. I mean, I'm gonna go into work after that, but
Not if you kill something.
I'm gonna hunt till about 9.
What if you kill something?
I'll ride around till it rots, I guess, because I hadn't killed a decent deer in 4 years.
You go ahead and kill 3 or 4 does while you out there. Well, you couldn't do that; it wouldn't be legal. But
yeah,
someone telling me we was gonna have a doe killing party and all kinds of stuff.
Well, that party's starting Saturday morning. I mean, I've done decide. I've got two big ones that keep rearing up and fighting each other. So when them 2 big jugheads come
Grace
in,
going with you?
No, she's going to Huntsville for the weekend, and Hunter he's going to his girlfriend's in Jacksonville.
Well, now when I was Hunter's age, that's what I did too. I kind of strayed away from hunting there for a few years.
I'm trying to talk him. His girlfriend, she says she wants to go hunting.
Yeah,
but she doesn't want to. She doesn't want to be behind the gun. She just wants to go to see if she thinks she could do it. And I said, well, what are we going to do if we get in the woods? And then you say, I can do it. I said, we got to be ready. We're going to have to get your hunter. If you're going to be part of this family, we're going to get your hunter safety course done. We're going to get you set up, which, I mean, she could get her license and go with me. I mean, I could.
Can't she do there's something you can do at her age anyway, not men.
That's what
you know
I'm saying.
What I'm talking about. She got to be sitting with you though.
Yeah, and we would. I mean, because she's never hunted before or anything. But
if you could get her into it,
I might could get Hunter.
Hunter might actually get back into it. What I'm thinking is, a
strategy. You got to strategize.
But Rebecca did the same thing. She said, "I don't know if I can shoot one, but I'll go sit with you and watch." And she did that the first year, and this next year it was like, I think I can take a doe, and she killed a couple of does. And then she killed that buck. I ain't never seen her again. She quit.
Chelsea's been with me, I think, 3 times and killed 2 deer, and I hadn't been back. And she told me the other day, she said, "I want to kill a buck. I'm ready to kill a buck." I was, okay, let's go.
Well, you have to get her down to the end of January.
Violet, she's got all. My oldest, she's got busy and working and doing all that. She's high, 11th
She working
grader.
now?
Oh yeah, she works every day after school.
Well,
good for her.
And worked all summer. I'm proud of her, but she's whatever, got different interests and everything. But Chelsea's wanting to go a little bit, and I got Briar here, and then Max, my youngest, he just turned 7. Mad Max, and Dusty's grinning ear to ear over here. Y'all just and one day y'all just bring him down here and drop him off, and y'all just do a podcast with him.
He's all boy. He's always got a stick and string.
I got a grandson that I swear is going to be a serial killer.
I picked him up a minute ago from his mama's, and it was cold. He come out, him and Briar. They come out, and I said, "You got your backpacks?" Yeah, I got them. I said, "Where's your coat?" Because it was cold, and he said, "Are we going hunting?" I said, "No, we're not going hunting. It's just cold. Where's your coat at?" He said, "Oh, I didn't have one today." So, but it's what he's always thinking about.
Well, I know we've talked a bunch of great stuff. It's been a fun one. It's like we talked about, just sitting on the porch telling stories. But I mean, you've had some successful hunts on public ground, and me and you've talked about this before briefly, but I mean, I want you to kind of explain to us what kind of man hours goes into this, how you go about it.
Lay out it's summertime.
Mm-hmm.
And you probably seen one the year before. You might want to try to lay eyes on again, or you hadn't.
Maybe found
and
a good
you're going to
scrape
get out
line
and walk them chigger and tick infested hills and start doing a little scouting. When you start all that, and what you do if you see the sign, and just because you're a killer, you're killing big ones.
The best, I could probably take you nearly from end of a season to the beginning of the season. And so, especially at the end of the season, you already know you've been hunting and everything, and you've either had an encounter with a deer, and if you're running cameras and stuff, where one's at, just about it and everything. So the best thing you can do is the weekend after deer season's over is go get in the woods and start scouting. Go and walk, because that's when the sign's on the ground. It's fresh.
I agree.
You're gonna know where the bucks are at. You're gonna be able to tell so much more about the woods, not just about where the sign is, but you can tell so much more about the thing where we hunt. That's a limiting factor is the terrain, and you can see and tell so much more about the terrain. So even if you just want to get familiar and if you've never been hunting public land, I don't care if it's up here in North Alabama, wherever it is, go right after the season, start scouting then. Then you got turkey season comes along. And turkey season, I got to set all that stuff to the side, right? And so, but then after turkey season, what my routine was, and like I told y'all earlier, my priorities change as you get older and things in life. This boy right here, and he's more important than any deer I'll ever kill and chase in my entire life. So I'm kind of changing things and going in different directions, getting things where me and him can hunt. But after turkey season, what I would do is I would have a list of places, and I like to look at things by creek systems over there, different deer that I'd have on camera. At one time running over 60 cameras over there.
Whoa.
Yeah,
that's a lot of cards to check.
A lot of cards, a lot of time, and I used to write down. And I got a journal. I should have brought that thing. I got a journal. Actually, I think it might be in the truck. But one between turkey season and the beginning of deer season, I walked over 100 miles just scouting. And people, always I've heard there's no sense in scouting in the summertime, this and that. If you know what you're looking for, you can find the places, especially in the big woods. And I've always said you got to make the big woods small. You got to know where the deer at. And when you find a bedding area and you find where a big buck wants to be at, what's thick, he might not be right there then when everything's greened up, but you know he's gonna be there whenever it's time to go kill him. So just putting boots on the ground, knowing what you're looking for. And like I said, I always like looking at terrain, a lot of bluff gaps, creek crossings. The way I like to scout a new area is just take the creek and walk the creek. And the best sign I can find is a big track, and measure your tracks by how wide. If I can find one that's as wide as those 4 fingers, that's a big deer. And if I've had a deer on camera in that area, I always feel like there's a good chance that, it's that deer. But scout all, and then what I do when it gets, bow season and stuff, I don't get on my sauce as Jesse Wiggins says, talk about it, but I try to stay out of those places with a bow, in early season, because they might not be there in that thickest part, that furthest part away from everybody and everything. I try to get on something, where they're feeding on acorns or whatever. And I just, you can talk to some guys that's been real successful in early season. I'm not the guy for that. I'm more of the rut, the, Thanksgiving, on, November, December type is whenever I've had all my success over there especially. But I get a plan together, And I will go, whenever I'm big deer hunting like that, I'll get a plan. And everybody always gripes on Facebook about somebody being at their spot, somebody, whatever. I've been beat to a spot one time over there. And because I live in Coleman County, born and raised in Coleman County, but hunted over there, And the only time I was ever beat to a spot, the guy was asleep. I woke him up. He was sitting at the gate. He was asleep, and I put my stuff on. And finally went over there and tapped on his window. He woke up and talked to him. He was going across the road on the other side anyways. But, my routine's, 2 o'clock, alarm clock goes off. Get up, get a shower. I use the old green, sent away, whether it works, whether it don't. I told you what I wear already, But I got a plan, and you go to a place like that, for me, a lot of times it's over an hour drive over there to the management area. And like you said, when you get back there, you're invested in it so much. And I've sat over there from daylight to dark several times and not seen a deer, and that's very disheartening, And that's why I like this, my boy here, he's not been over there hunting, because you'll ruin a young man over there. They'll get bored. They'll be like, this is terrible. I don't want to do this, And that's why, I know public land's a big thing. Everybody, I killed big deer on public land. If I had land with big deer on it like you can kill over there, that's where, if I had that lease, that's where I'd be hunting. You know what I mean? I'm like that guy that talked about, if you could shoot a deer with a bazooka, I'd be bazooka hunting. I'm all about just killing deer. Big deer, and you just that don't mean nothing. Anybody can go and do that, and anybody can get lucky. But if you want to get kind of consistent with it, you've got to put in the time and the effort. We got, at my time, my hunting partner, 2 or 3 years ago now, we killed 4, trophy bucks within like 8 days of each other over there.
You remember the rough scores on them?
That first deer I killed, that first one, I don't know, he was 125, 130. I don't know what he was. We didn't get him scored, but then Chase killed one that scored like 143, 10 point one morning. And then, one of the biggest deer I'd ever laid hands on, I helped him, drag. We was hunting across the holler from each other. We walked in together and everything, and we had a plan. We actually got another guy to come, actually my dad, to come around and meet us, because we drug him down the creek, because there's no way we was going to drag him back up the mountain and all. But that deer was like 140 something. And so then the next day I went hunting, and I was hunting a particular deer that, man, he looked like he had a rocking chair on his head. He had just huge freaking tines. And there was him. I only had pictures of him like twice at night. But then I had another nice 8 point that I was hunting, nearly 140-inch deer. And I felt like I had probably a better chance of killing him. That's one I really was trying to kill. And hunted till 2 o'clock that day, and I'd sit there, and we had a crazy wind. And I decided, this wind's blowing straight out of the southeast. And it's going the way it was blowing, and because of all them hours that I'd put in the summertime, I knew where the deer was at, but I knew I couldn't go down there and hunt him that morning. There ain't no way without getting busted. But that wind was blowing, and I decided, if I can get down there to that place before, it's time, I might can kill, a buck just sitting on the ground. So climbed down, eased down there. Took me forever to get down there, and ended up killing that deer. And I had him scored like 3 months later after that, and he was like 157 and something. So, and he was a mainframe 8 point with 2 little old kickers that made him a 10-point. So, you know, he probably was 160 the day he got killed. And then a week later from that day, Chase killed 152-inch 8-point, something like that. And I can show you on a map, it like this right here, it looks like a diamond, you know, 5 miles apart, every one of them, you know, that we killed. So we spread out. We just kind of knew, like, every place, you know, when I go hunting over there, I know that I got a good, you know, I got a chance of seeing a really good deer, you know.
You might not see nothing, but when you do see something, he's probably going to be a good one.
Well, every time you hear a deer coming, whatever, you got expectations that it's probably going to very possibly be a good shooter. And I don't know what it is. I do know the buck-doe ratio, you know, is I don't know if you call it good, but it's not like you're going to go see a bunch of does and not see any bucks. I see just as many bucks as I do does over there. It's fun. It's rewarding when it happens. There's no doubt. You kill them big deer, but I just tell everybody it's luck. But
well, that's when the work starts. So when you kill them big ones over there.
I was going to say, when you in there and you know you're going deep, because that's the only way you're going to get away from people anyway. Mm-hmm. You ever thinking about, when I kill this deer, how am I going to get this deer out? And you make a plan, or you just worry about that when he's on the ground?
No, well, you always have some type of a plan. Whenever I killed, the biggest deer, I called him, and I called my dad, and I was going to pack him out. That was the plan, because I was like, there's no way we're going to drag this deer out up this mountain. You know, there's only one way out. We got down there to it, and we ended up dragging it out. He was like, ain't no way people's got to see this thing. There's no way. So we couldn't drag it. We had to just like 1, 2, 3 and just like heave and hoe it up this mountain. So my plan, I always take, and I've packed out plenty over there, and, you know, only a couple of decent bucks, you know, that I've actually packed out. But I always take those little old socks. You can buy them pretty cheap. I take them with me. And so I'll clean them, quarter them up in there. And my backpack that I got is real big. And so I'll put them in that and pack them out.
Get them all one trip.
Yeah.
Once they quartered up.
Yep.
Good thing is you got a pretty good system of friends that would go and help you.
Well, that's another thing. I don't ever worry about any of that. Is if I can ever get cell phone service, I know that I'll have some help there.
That's one thing I can say about, you know, guys around the house. If somebody's got a deer down or got a cow out, they're willing to come help. I mean, never had no problem.
Well, I mean,
with that.
and that's one good thing about having you a good hunting partner too. Mm-hmm. Because you can always count on them.
Oh yeah, and I got so many that good friends, good buddies that I could call on, you know, anytime to come help me. Hey, I'm in a bind with this deer. I need help, you know, and I could get somebody there to help me out.
I tell you what, 150-pound dead deer will wear a big man out.
Oh yeah,
I shot one last year, and he ran further than I thought. I think he's just full of adrenaline. He's running doe when I got him, and I mean, I center punched him with a 270, and I'm talking about, I guess just the adrenaline. He still made it off the hill, and I went down one of those carts and got him out. And I'm telling you, just you know, and trying to get him in the back of the truck. I mean, it's
oh yeah,
and he was probably, like I said, 150-pound buck. You know,
my brother killed a 12-point over in County Line. I don't know if y'all know where that is. Anyway, it's between Warrior and Locust Fork in a strip pit. He always used to take his birthday off and hunt. I know when it was January 13th. I can't tell you the year, but it's probably been 20 years ago. But he called me at work. He said, you know, you got to come help me get this deer out. And I didn't know what he was hunting over there. This is Mark. He's kind of a quiet guy anyway, because all Tim does make moonshine. He don't hunt. But so I told my I guess he was my boss then. I don't think I owned part of the company back then. I said, I got to go. He killed a deer. This was about, I don't know, it was after lunch. I got there about 2:00. And we went back in there, and you'd have to go off them old slate dump hills. And I don't know how he found this place. But when you dropped off in there, there's one big giant hardwood holler. And I kept going, well, where's that deer? And he said, he's right over here. And we stand on the side of the hill. He says, right there, laying in the creek between those two trees. And we was a good ways off. Well, hell, buddy. You couldn't get that deer out of here? He said, if you can get him out from between them trees and drag him to me, I'll drag him the rest of the way. All right. I couldn't get the deer out from between the two trees. We gutted him down there. We started dragging at 2:00. At 6:30, we got to the truck. Yeah. Gutted, that deer weighed 215 pounds.
It's a hoss.
Gutted. He was a hoss. And one of the biggest deers he's ever killed.
That's a big body deer.
It's a big old deer. I didn't know that.
Here.
Well, this was it's kind of right on a Blount Jefferson County line. That's why it's called county line.
Okay.
Very few deer, and they're just starting to come in there. So, I mean, they wasn't, it was just, they were big deer. They still big deer. There's still some monsters over in there, especially right around where Daddy lives in that area, not right there where he's at, even though he's got a good one that he can kill. They'd probably get in the 130s.
He had a nice bachelor group that was there, especially for like him. I mean, he's 82.
I want to see that. I want to see that. We had a porcupine on there. I mean, I only seen him one time. I'd love to kill that deer. That's the only one I'd kill. That's why I told my brother, you better not shoot that big buck. He comes out. He'll kill it. I know he will.
You pack one out right, you can get it out. I had I said I hadn't ever packed out a big one that reminded me the first actual big deer killed over there. That 9-point I got, it's kind of got the shorter tines, but he's a big. He looked like Chase said he looked like a Brangus bull on camera, just huge body. I wished I knew what that deer weighed, but man, I had to leave my stand. There ain't no way I could tote that stand and that deer out of there. And to get service to get anybody to drag it out was just, like I'm down there with it, and you pack one out and quarter him up and stuff, get his, and I always took a paracord, to tie the head and all that stuff on there with it. You can get them out of there. It's just
when you're doing this scouting now, are you making mental notes or marking too, like maybe a tree stand location? When you say you're going in there and you're looking at while the leaves are still off, you're going, okay, well.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So
you offline on X dropping pins or?
Oh yeah, OnX is my best friend. You download them maps and everything, but
most of my deer hunting career, there's no such thing.
Right.
And it's a.
Well, this
no
makes
excuse
it a lot
no more.
easier. Yeah,
Plus,
there's
I mean,
no excuse. You shouldn't ever get lost.
You shouldn't get lost unless your phone goes dead or something.
Well, and if you get lost, that's what I need to tell everybody. Disclaimer right here. If you get lost over there, just go to a creek and follow the water.
Yeah,
and you will end up somewhere where somebody can find you.
That's the first thing my dad ever taught me about the forest over there.
Down in the swamp, down there where we at, it's real hilly for Dallas County, but that big bottom, all that little Okmulgee Creek runs through there, and it's all flat and it all looks the same.
Yeah.
And I told him, I said, if I get turned around in there, they said, well, how are we gonna find you? I said, you'll find me. Mm-hmm. He said, why? I said, I'm gonna set the damn woods on fire. Somebody's gonna come in there and get me, because we had some boys. They was 9 miles from where their truck was, and they walked out on us out of that swamp. They got turned around down in there. They was gone a day and a half. They didn't even sleep. They looked like they did.
Well, I tell you what, we broke down on Wolf Creek one time. Starter went out on the truck,
Wolf Creek.
I had to walk out of there, and I wouldn't be like, I might have been a little older than Briar and Dad at the time. Dad was a big old man. He drove a truck for a living, and they said, son, you're going to have to go find us some help. And I said, you want me to go walking, He said, yeah. And, man, I got down there, and here come these rough-looking fellers. And, man, they had a truckload of deer. I don't even know if it was either sex. I can't remember if it's been that. But, man, they had a tarp over, and it was 3 guys in the truck, but I know there's at least six or 8 deer piled up in there. And I said, can y'all help us? He said, man, we can't. We got to get out of here. And that's the only person I'd seen. I kept walking. Had no idea where I was at. No phone. none of this stuff. This was like in probably 96 or something. I'm walking out there, and here come another guy up through there. I told him, I said, hey, me and my dad were broke down. It's one day I even found Dad in the truck again. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
And the guy was great. He took us into town there, got us started. Dad had a few tools, and it was an 04 F100 or something that he had. And, so the starter didn't take 10 minutes to change it out. Of course, I changed it out, muddy, laying down on the ground. But, I mean, once again, guys will stop and help. I mean,
you asking about when you're scouting and looking for a tree and stuff, and that goes back to, you plan, right? You find the area where you think a deer's at, then you find kind of, they call that the spot in the
where
spot.
you want to hunt him from.
Yeah, where can you kill this deer from? Where can you get close to him? Where can you get an advantage? All that. You can take those little old clip-on pins and stuff.
The cat eyes.
Yeah, put them, right there next to your tree. And you don't mark your trail. A lot of people do. I see that all the time.
All you doing is inviting people, come on in.
Yeah, somebody will end up see that.
Even if it's just a beer can.
If I have a
they
trail,
know where it is.
even on that club, it's 500 yards from where I leave the truck.
Then you start trimming
then I start my trail.
Yeah. And even where you're going to hunt at, you got to be discreet, because there's, on public land, there's not a rock that's not done been turned over. People is going to see that. I've seen people over there. I've had people on camera. I've had cameras stolen in places where you'd think there ain't no way there's anybody. That's when I start putting my cameras up in a tree about 9-10 foot off the ground. I take a step with me. That's what I started doing, was hanging my cameras up. But, when you hunt, you find that place, you got to have your tree already marked, because the worst feeling in the world is like, I'm going to go hunt out here on this ridge, and just know that you won't hunt on that ridge or on that point, and then you get out there and you're just standing around there. You're looking up like this.
Figure out which is the best tree to go up. It is bad.
And is it rotten and dead? Because I have done that.
Yes, I've done that too. I've been there,
Are you still going traditional? Are you still on a climbing stand, or have you went to a saddle yet?
I'm not in a saddle yet, and I don't I don't make fun of people for using saddles. I see that as being another tool, like my Summit I'm gonna hunt out of. That's gonna be my rifle stand always. I before the saddles kind of come up, I invested in some pretty good climbing sticks and a Millennium. But I had an old Windwalker, the original lock-ons. You know what I'm talking about? Little bitty stand. That's what I hunt out of. Whenever, like in early season and going like that, just quick in and out and whatever. But if I'm going to go and sit all day, I've got to be sitting in that Summit. I can't sit on that little seat all day like that.
Yeah.
And I can't get as high in a tree. If I'm rifle hunting, I want to get up, real high. And so... but nothing wrong with the saddles. I like them. I just hadn't, I'll be honest with you. I think they're too expensive for what they are. And that's me. That's where I've got at.
We had Joe. We had Joe last year on here last week from Hunter Safety Systems.
Oh, yeah. He wanted me to come by. I need to go by there
and try them out.
Try that out.
And they're reasonable.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What did he say? One was 169?
169, and they got like the deluxe one's like 199. But I got on their website doing some research after that, and you can buy, they've got a whole kit, like the kitchen sink. You buy the one setup, and you've got the whole rig, and it seemed like it was less than $700 or something.
Well,
and I'm talking about,
and if it's Hunter Safety System is top line.
That's what's going to make it, because
that's the only harness I'll use. And I got a few other products, and if I was going to get a saddle, it'd be that one, because I know
he told us, come sit in them.
He's got this thing. They got this thing they come up with called a slap on. Is that what it's called?
Oh, yeah. I've seen
slap
that.
stick or something.
Yeah, and that is and so that comes with that deluxe kit I'm talking about.
Oh, it comes with it.
Yeah. But I got and watched the video after he told us about it, because he was talking about the slap bracelets, and I'm like, I got to check this out. So that night I got home, watched the video, and I told Anthony, I said, man, those things are great. Whoever come up with that was genius, because it's got the two little pockets, And so your lineman ropes for the right and left, they fold up into that. And when you snap it around a tree, you just unzip it and you're hooked in and you just throw that thing up and it hugs the tree and you just go to climbing. And then it's got the tethers already in some more pouches. So everything's in this slapstick or whatever it's called. Really cool. Really cool.
Oh, they got good products.
Well,
man, and that's a good group
when,
of guys too.
When
Good
you see that
company.
HSS on there, you know it's quality.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you ain't got to worry about it.
No.
And I honest to God, I mean, I feel like if you bought a new horn or something like that and you found one stitch out of it, you could ride down to
you
Danville,
could,
it'd be replaced.
But what I'm saying is, and their harness aren't the cheapest ones on the market by no means. I mean, you're going to pay for them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And when he started talking about the saddles, well, that's what I'm saying. But I'm saying when he started talking about saddles, I'm thinking, it's going to be high dollar stuff. But it was really affordable for a man that hadn't got in it.
And that's what he said.
Now, I'm too old. I ain't fooling with it. I just ain't going to.
We're going to go try them out one day.
I'll go try them out, but I've got too many
I'll be honest with you,
climbing stands.
Just with my age, my size, and I got to think about this the other night, just trying to like be up there and set the platform as just where I'm at in life. I'd bust out my API and go climb if I really want to get back into deer hunting. I got 5 or 6 years till this one right here. He might, if he decides that, hey, let's go after one of them deer like you got on your wall, Daddy. And if we do that, then we'll probably have us a saddle because
y'all hang the same tree as a saddle.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. My buddies, Chris and Craig, that own Brothers Processing in Coleman. So one of them tagged out in Missouri. Like,
I got some kids that work there. Okay. Some of my kids from my school work there. Yeah.
Yeah, they're
good
talk
guys.
about that before we get out of here. Don't forget that.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's what they did. Craig or Chris won. They killed with their bow like the first day they were there. So after that, they hung in the same tree. They're actually, and I mean they're same age as me, but they're saddle hunting and they were hanging in the same tree when the other one killed his buck. And I mean, it's got to be pretty cool. Yeah. And then when Blaine was on here, he was talking about a deer he tracked or 2 deer he tracked this year that the boys was in the same tree with their saddles. And me and Blaine kind of had that talk, just kidding around about the saddle hunting. And he said, man, I used to give everybody a hard time about it. He said, but I finally found a spot that you just could not get a tree stand in. Mm-hmm. There's no way to set up. And he said, I borrowed a saddle and went and set up. And he said, I was able to kill this deer that I was after. And he said, that was the only place to set up. And you couldn't set up there without a saddle. Yeah, so, I mean, it's a tool, like you say.
It's a tool. I agree. Oh, I'm not saying I would never hunt out of one. I'm not going to go.
I don't know that I got enough confidence in me to hunt out of one. That's the problem.
Well, I think that's where you got to go.
Yeah, it takes a lot
on
of
a demo tree and getting used to that.
Yeah, I'd have to do like when Dad taught me how to climb a climber. I'd have to be during the summer.
Oh, yeah.
Instead of shooting my bow, I'd have to be kind of figuring all this out because I think, too, especially on the steps, like Haynes is tall, that helps because you can get a lot higher a lot quicker when you're taller. But I would have to be confident in hanging those steps, especially in the dark. But and I might have to try 2 or 3 different steps.
It's just like your climber, though. You've done it for so many years. You can do it in the dark. You know exactly the angle. You can look at that tree, the angle, put your stand on, just throwing them steps up and doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I admit I haven't been a climber in 5 or 6 years. I've got a brand new.
I got a climber, and I'm not so sure it's not still in the woods. I got 5. I ain't even counted them where I got them put at. I was telling Christian, my boy, he turned 33 yesterday.
Yeah, I seen that.
He makes me feel real old. But we was talking about I was going to carry him down in this spot. I said, I'm going to show you all these spots because I don't know how much longer I'm going to be hunting down in here. I may get out. I mean, I got my 40 acres down the road. I mean, and it's got turkeys on it. So, right. I mean, I don't give a crap about no deer. I've got turkeys to fool with. So I said, I need to show you all these spots. I've been hunting since 98. There ain't a piece on that 3,500 acres I ain't had a foot on somewhere sometime. I've walked and found every corner on that map. I've been to it because they put me in charge of making a new map when I first got down. I had one of the first little GPSs. And I went to every corner and marked them, and I drew them a new map. But anyway, we was talking about that, and he said, we didn't have time. By the time that stand was screwed up, I was putting together, and we got one up, and then we had to go put one of his up and had to go put corn in some feeders, and I had to reseed that field. And he said, we going over there? I said, no, I don't think we're going to make it over there this time. I said, but I ain't so sure they ain't I think I got a stand hanging on a tree down there. I know it hung last year down there because squirrels eat it up, or they gnawed on it. I still hunted out of it. I killed that embarrassing buck. Man, when they chase and they don't see nothing but horns, I'm putting him on the ground. I say,
Been there, done that.
You ain't got but just a second. Look, I'd already had pictures of what what he was supposed to be, and it's so thick in there. Mm-hmm. There's no way to bow hunt it, and you only got a little pockets to shoot through. And man, I heard him grunting a half a mile away. It seemed like I could hear him busting, and the does come by, and I had the gun laid up. I saw the horns, and then I saw the shoulder, and I laid him down, and it cost me $50.
I done that 3 years ago. I know exactly what you're talking about.
But you know what? He's legal in the state of Alabama. He might have been illegal on our club, and I'm the one. I am the club. I had a guy ask me, "Is this your club or is this a hunting club?" I said, "It's my club." I said, "I signed the lease. I make the rules." I said, "We can talk about stuff, and we do have little meetings and stuff." I said, "But if I don't like your suggestion, it ain't happening. We don't take no votes. If I like it, we'll do it. If I don't care about it, we'll do it if you want to do it." I've changed some stuff for people, but that's just the way it is.
I had there's a place over there in the management area we call Wheat Penny. Was scouting it in the summertime and got back on the end of this bluff point. Just looking at it, boy, it sure is pretty. Standing there looking. Looked down right there on a solid rock, and there was a penny laying there. Picked it up, and there's a wheat penny. Ain't no telling how. Somebody had sat there whenever, it'd been there. It's a wheat penny. It'd been there a long time, But it was sitting there, and they'd done been squirrels or rats or something been chewing on it. I got it in my safe at the house, so that's wheat penny, right? Way, way back in there, right? So ended up getting like 3 or 4 deer would love to have killed, right? So this is the first gun hunt, first weekend, first day. Everybody from the entire state's coming up here because it's the rifle hunt, right? It's the only place that there's rifle season. This is a few years ago. And I'm hunting in a place, and the leaves are all still on trees, obviously. And, man, I hear this deer coming up the trail. And there's a little trail that comes up right between the rocks. And all they got to do is get right there. And, man, I got a killer shot, right? So I see this deer coming from down there. And I see horns. I'm like, oh, man. And before I got up my tree, I went ahead and grabbed my card right there. And so I'm sitting up there before daylight looking through these. And there's like one little deer on it. And then there's 4 or 5 just really good deer, right? So this deer comes up there. And that's where I made my mistake is I went down there and I checked my camera, just being stupid, right? Right where I'm going to shoot a deer, I walked down there and put my scent on the ground. So this deer walks up there, and I see him for a split second. I see his horns, and my heart's just... He walks up there, and I can see him, but I can't see his head. But I know he's a buck, and I can see his body movement, and I'm like, see his horns turn a little bit. I'm like, oh, my God, he's smelling me. This is it. All right. Boom, I shoot him. He turns, he goes off a hill. We got walkie-talkies. I called my buddy, man, I just killed a good deer. You got to get over here. I killed a good deer. He gets over there. I wait on him. We go down there and look. This deer, he's an 8-point, but this is, I'm talking about a small 8-point. So, we cleaned that deer out and packed him out. And I wouldn't even let him tote any of that. We had 2 of us there. I said, no. I said, I ruined your hunt. I ruined my hunt. I said, we put in all this time. I was so sick over that. But then, I got that deer back to the house, and he said, you going to take the head out? I said, yeah, I'm taking the head out. And I ended up skull mounting that deer. And I say, that right there, that's a reminder. That's ground shrinkage and making sure when you're back there that far, you better make sure you know what you're shooting because you don't want to wind up like I did that day. But
it happens.
Oh, yeah.
It happens. You hunt, it's going to happen.
Oh, yeah. It
Which
does. You just don't want it to happen 2.5 miles from the truck.
No.
Which I guess you ain't getting to hunt as much with your new job.
No. So I took I'm telling you, man, I'm the luckiest man that ever lived. Love what I do. I started out as an ag teacher. I went to Auburn and started out as an ag teacher. Loved that. Then got into administration, doing career tech in Coleman County school system. And then we started, it's a third school, but it's called the Academy of Craft Training. And what we do is we train 11th and 12th grade students throughout North Alabama, specifically in commercial constructions. But what we do is we plug them in a job. That's kind of what kind of makes us different. And so I'm the education director and principal at a school in South Decatur. And it's like I love what I do, and those guys are good with me, and they would let me off a lot more than what I'll take off. But I just that's kind of my baby. We started it. It was the first year was last year up there. Our first school started in Birmingham in 2016. It's been very, very successful. Second school started in Mobile about 3 years ago, and this is our second year. And so I get to part of the year I get to go around to 27 different high schools recruiting students and looking for very specific students. If you want to go to work, if you want to learn a skilled trade and you want to go to work and getting plugged in with a good contractor, a good company, that's what I'm able to offer. And so we got students from about 27 different high schools throughout North Alabama that come to my school every day. And we do an adult training during the summer. But I love what I do. I love seeing them kids come through. And, last year we have a big signing day at the end of the year, like a big, athletic signing. You know how they do athletic signs? They make a big deal out of that, and it is a big deal. But we do a signing day for whenever our students accept jobs. So we bring in all those contractors, all those companies during the spring. They meet all my students, all the seniors, and they get to talk to them. And we offer paid internships. I've got 60 students going out next week, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday during Thanksgiving break, and they're going to be working. They're getting paid, but they're going to get to go work on commercial construction job sites. I've got several that they'll be on the arsenal up there. I've had students work, all over North Alabama. But anyways, my students in the springtime, like this year, same as last year, I have all them companies come in. They'll meet the students, and then the students start getting job offers come in. And that's what's so cool. These letters will come in, and these kids will get them, and they'll read them, and they'll have a job offer. And then the kid decides which company they're going to go with, right? And then we have this big signing day, and their parents are there, their principal, superintendents, family, whoever that wants to come, they come. And so we make a big deal out of it. It is a big deal. These kids, they go to work, and, I'm going to say that it's probably been life-changing for several throughout the state. I know I seen it firsthand last year, but it's kind of one of them deals, you passionate about what you do and you don't feel like you work a day in your life. That's honestly, how I feel about what I get to do each and every day. So I love it. You think about construction type kids I'm looking for, right? So I got for example, I got a bunch of duck hunters, and I don't duck hunt, but I got a bunch of duck hunters, some from Hartsville, some from Addison. And them boys have done hooked up, and they've been going duck hunting together, and they'll come in and out, just kind of in passing. I get to talk about that with them, whatever, and then I'll get to talk, I know the ones that hunt, they get off there wearing camouflage. Hey, what'd you do this week? I went hunting. Oh, tell me about it. So I get to kind of talk about that, and some of them know me through all this stuff and my success and everything. So, it's just, I have fun every single day, and coach them kids up about the outdoors too a little bit when I get a chance with one of them kids, and hey, you hang in there, you keep on, and they'll ask me some questions here and there, and my thing is what it's like going to work, and what I do, them kids is just pump them up, and hey, you keep on, and if you're in the outdoors, you ain't gonna get in trouble. You should.
You won't have no money either.
No, not if you duck hunt. Not especially.
We playing footsie over here.
So what all kind of programs do y'all offer up there?
So we have 4 classes right now. We might expand, but right now we have commercial construction, we have commercial electrical, we have HVACR and mechanical systems, and then we also have industrial metal and fabrication. So kind of your welding, your your ironwork and red metal. We have what I tell everybody, we got tech centers all throughout North Alabama, and career tech up here is a big thing and always has been. It's not like that throughout the rest of the state. And so my thing is, whenever I sell it, is, you know what, the big thing that makes us different is the industry that backs us, right, is having, you know, a network through the Associated Builders and Contractors where we've got, you know, like 200 or something members, 200 companies up here where they're looking, you know, they're coming, they're asking for the kids, you know, and so the jobs are there. So that's kind of that, and the paid internships. Another thing, our instructors, they all come straight, you know, out of industry. They're experienced, they're veterans, and you know that's what makes it different. It ain't me at all. I'm lucky. I'm just along. I'm riding everybody's coattails, and I'm just a big cheerleader, you know, and just, you know, telling everybody about what we're doing, and you know, just love it, man. I mean, it's a good thing to be in. It's just like the outdoors, you know. Like I was talking about hunting earlier, you do what you love. I tell my kids, man, you come here, learn something. You learn a skilled trade, you're gonna be successful. And if you decide you want to go to the military, go. That's fine. If that's your route, go to the military. If you go, I got a guy this year. He's going to play at the in the All-Star football game in Mobile in a couple of weeks. If he goes to play college football, that's what I want him to, you know, if that's what he wants to do, that's what I want him to do. So whatever makes them kids happy, as long as they've got a path to success, and, you know, that's what I want. Same way in outdoors. Like if people wants to hunt out a saddle, I've never knocked anybody about the way they hunt and, you know, any of that, or what somebody kills. I don't care.
Said
if
it
it makes
100 times.
you happy, it makes me happy.
Listen, we got enough people against us out there trying, anti-hunters and environmental people. And
Yep.
we don't need to be fighting amongst ourselves. It's just we don't. I don't know why they do it, but they do it.
Nope. I agree. It's just ego.
Yeah, it is.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
It's ego.
Well, boys, I think we're going to have to wrap this thing up.
Hey,
somebody over there look like about to go to sleep, too.
It's bedtime.
Oh, Briar Rabbit.
Rabbit.
It's
It's bedtime for him.
It's about 15 minutes past his bedtime.
Yeah.
But I'm sure you done got your homework and everything done ready.
You got to say something right here before we leave.
Yeah, you're going to have to turn it on. At least say hey to your girlfriend. He said something.
Yep.
I heard him.
Tell your mama hello then.
Yeah, at least lean up there and say, hey, mama.
Hey, Mama.
You ain't close enough to that microphone.
Hey, Mama.
Did you have fun tonight?
Yeah.
Yeah. You like hanging out in the woods with your old man?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we'll have to get him back. He'll have some stories for the end of this season.
Oh, yeah.
So
He's got some good me and him's got some very good stories. Whenever he gets a little more comfortable talking, that's what he was showing me some pictures.
It's
right there of
coming.
me
And don't
him.
worry about it because
if you're cut from the same cloth as your papa and your papa and your daddy,
he'll talk.
Yeah, he'll be able to talk soon. He won't bother.
That's the way I am. I'm just like
right
you.
now.
I'm
Ain't
real
nothing
quiet.
wrong
I don't say a whole lot. I keep to myself.
That's one thing about being on this. Nobody's looking at you.
Nobody's looking at you. And
No.
This ain't no different wisdom with Dowie sitting
I mean, the
talking.
only thing is, we sitting around here talking with a set of headphones on. That's
Yep.
about it.
Yep.
All the fun starts tomorrow. I have to put all this crap together and get it ready to go. I try to do that at work early in the morning. So
Haynes, we appreciate you
Yes,
taking
sir.
time during the week.
Guys, I appreciate y'all.
Everybody
Thank
be
you for
safe
having
this
me on.
weekend.
Yes.
I mean,
wear your harness if you're climbing, even a ladder stand.
And
Wear
if you
that
don't
harness.
got one, go get a hunter safety system, because I really believe that's the
That is the one.
best.
It's
And
the
that's
one.
this boy right here, when he gets to climbing and or hunting out of a tree stand or something other than a shooting house, that's what he's gonna have on.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. It's best on the market.
Yep.
Well, you got anything else?
No,
I ain't gonna beg tonight.
no begging.
We've been running so long. I don't need to. I don't need to beg Mossy Oak and Hunter Safety Systems or any of that.
Oh, I'm going to. Donnie Joe, you heard what I said. Hook me up one of them saddles, man. I'll bring no GoPro out next year, and I'll stick a few big deer for you, and you can use that on your channel and whatever.
Is that what it takes? Maybe that's what it is.
Maybe
Hey, boys. Well,
I don't know.
I wear the camouflage I've been trying to beg for, and we shoot the shells. So whatever. Anyway,
You got to have some content.
there you go.
That's what it is. You got to have some
Content.
Yep. That filming stuff, I don't know.
I ain't got time for it.
We too busy trying to kill.
I'm trying to kill too many.
really
When I
like
get tired of killing them, I might film it.
It gets in the way.
It gets
too
in the
much.
way.
And it just becomes almost work.
You know,
I'm
if I had me
I don't know about that.
my own shadow cameraman, that might be different. If he's over there doing his thing, being quiet, not spooking my deer or turkeys.
That ain't ever gonna happen neither.
I just ain't got time. Listen, most time I'm he gobbles and you're up. I ain't worried about is that camera on him or nothing. No, I'm worried about is that TSS going to get out there.
I'm not passing up a bird to get the perfect footage.
No.
Or a deer. I'm gonna put it down. It is what it is.
We'll get you back about springtime and we'll really get the turkey talking.
Well, yeah, we're gonna have a turkey kickoff for sure.
Yeah, I think we're going. We need to start that the week after deer season's over.
Yeah, that'll have to start then because NWTF will be the weekend after deer season.
Yeah,
so,
well, good deal. I say we get on out of here. Yep. All right, Meeting Two Nation. Till next week. We'll see you.